So the lesson that I recorded was learning how to divide whole numbers by fractions. And the way that I got myself prepared for this lesson was to first internalize the standard in which what they needed to walk away with, which was to be able to interpret division as a whole number and divide it by a unit fraction so that their quotients, they understand, was greater than their whole and their fraction. I think that this was important because, as we know, all math builds upon each other. So students need to grasp that understanding that we are dividing a whole by a fraction. So what was stressed here was investing in the question and getting your total group and group size, because understanding that your total was a whole number and that your group size was a fraction allowed you to know that you needed to break it down into groups, and that your groups will be, and understand that you're breaking a whole number down into fractions so that you will have more pieces. So that you will have more pieces of that whole. More pieces, sorry, greater than your whole. So as for the exit tickets, a lot of students really grasp it easily, the understanding of it. One thing I did want them to walk away from was understanding that you wanted to know how many pieces was there. Something that I did see was that kids were saying that there were, 25ths there, and they would write it as like 20 over 5. And as we know, that would result to 4. So stressing the fact that there were 20 pieces there and each piece was a fifth. I looking over my exit tickets, I believe I would say like 90% of the students grasp the understanding. I did see a bunch, not a bunch, I did see a few students who missed that investment piece, and they did get the overall standing, but they missed that investment piece. And as you can see in my exit tickets, I stamped that the investment was missing. This is crucial because next they'll be learning how to divide a unit fraction by a whole number, which is crucial, once again, that investment piece, so that you know what your equation is at the end of the day. I think that this lesson was very successful, and I look forward to teaching. I look forward to teaching the next part. What I will do in order to make sure that this is stamped is that when I introduce the next lesson, I will go over the stamp from this lesson, which is when dividing a whole number by a fraction, you must first create a model, and that your product or answer will be greater than both your whole number and your fraction because you are breaking it down into smaller pieces. That will allow them to understand the next lesson, which is that we're actually splitting a fraction into smaller pieces, so that you're actually going to end up getting smaller pieces than both your whole and your fraction, the reverse. So stamping those two things so that we won't see any confusion in the future. I believe that this lesson was very successful.